In the heart of Nigeria, the sky turned dark as thunder rolled across the hills. Rain poured after 4 long seasons of drought. In a small hut, a baby boy cried, his birth marked by lightning and fear. The villagers whispered that this child carried destiny within his tears. That night, the chief summoned his guards. "Take the child far into the forest," he said coldly, "and make sure he never returns." The mother wept and begged for mercy, but her cries were swallowed by the rain. The baby's fate now rested in the trembling hands of men. Deep inside the forest, one guard's heart broke. He looked at the sleeping child and whispered, "Forgive us." Instead of killing him, they laid the baby beneath a large tree and prayed for his safety. The rain stopped suddenly, and silence fell, as if the forest had accepted him. The chief had no son, only 3 daughters. When the native doctor read the signs, he said, "This child will replace the king one day." The chief's heart filled with jealousy and dread. Power clouded his mind, and instead of joy, fear was born beside the boy. As dawn rose, a golden serpent slithered toward the crying child. Its eyes glowed softly, not with hunger, but with care. It coiled around the boy, guarding him from harm. From that day, the serpent became his protector and teacher, the forest's answer to a mother's last prayer. Years passed. The boy grew strong and wise among the trees. The serpent taught him the secrets of healing herbs, roots, and rivers. He learned to listen to the wind and speak to nature. The forest became his home, his school, and his kingdom of peace. The boy healed wounded animals and sick travelers who lost their way. Word spread of a mysterious healer living in the forest. No sickness could resist his touch. Yet, behind his calm eyes, a hidden question grew: who am I? The forest whispered, but never answered. One season, a strange sickness swept through the chief's village. People grew weak, and fear filled the air. No herbalist could cure it, and no priest could stop it. The chief's palace became a place of mourning. The elders feared that the gods were punishing them for an old sin. The boy's mother, still alive, carried her sorrow like a shadow. Every night she prayed for her lost child, unaware he lived. When the sickness took her neighbors, she whispered, "If only my son were here, he could heal them." Her heart broke again, heavy with both grief and hope. The village's oldest herbalist stood before the chief. "There is one who can save us," he said. "The boy you cast away lives." The forest kept him. The chief's face turned pale. "That child," he whispered. "He must be dead." But the herbalist shook his head. "No, my king. He lives." The chief's guards entered the forest, spears in hand and fear in their hearts. The trees stood tall and silent, watching them like old spirits. They followed narrow paths, guided by stories and regret. Each step felt heavier, as if the forest itself was judging their past sins. As they moved deeper, the air grew thick with mist. Strange whispers floated through the trees. Birds called warnings, and the wind carried secrets. Then, ahead, a golden light shimmered, soft, steady, and warm. It was not the sun, but something alive, waiting to be found. From the mist, a tall man stepped forward, dressed in leaves and beads. His eyes glowed like the morning sun. Around his neck hung golden scales. The guards dropped to their knees. "We seek your help," one said. The man's calm voice replied, "Help comes with truth." Back in the village, the chief's wife prepared herself. She wore a white cloth and carried palm oil and honey. With trembling steps, she entered the forest, following the guard's trail. Her heart raced. She did not know if her son would know her or forgive her. The healer spoke, his voice calm but firm. "I can cure the sickness," he said, "but balance must be restored. 2 lives from the chief's house must be given to the golden serpent." Silence followed. Even the wind stopped. The guards looked away, knowing what it meant. In a clearing, she saw him. Grown, strong, and shining with power. For a moment, time stopped. The golden serpent coiled beside him, watching. The eyes met, and memory returned. Tears fell as he whispered, "Mother." The forest sighed softly. After years of pain, blood found blood again. That night, the chief sat alone. His daughters slept, unaware of the storm building around them. His heart battled between love and duty. The healer's words echoed in his mind, "Two for many." By dawn, his eyes were red with tears, but his decision was made. Under the moon, torches burned. The chief led his daughters to the sacred tree. The golden serpent waited, its glow gentle, not cruel. The girls knelt, praying. The serpent touched them, and light rose into the sky. No scream, no pain. Only peace and the sound of wind. At sunrise, the healer raised his staff. Golden mist spread through the village. The sick awoke, breathing deeply for the first time in weeks. Rivers cleared, birds returned, and hope filled the air. The chief fell before the healer, whispering, "Forgive me, my son." The healer nodded silently. The people danced under the rising sun. Drums echoed through the hills, and children sang songs of healing. For the first time in many seasons, joy filled every heart. The chief's palace opened its gates to all. But deep inside, he knew the price of peace was heavy. While the village celebrated, the healer stood apart. His face calm, yet eyes filled with memories. He watched the people he once called his own. The sound of drums reached him, but his heart was quiet. In that silence, he felt both pride and pain. That night, his mother sat beside the fire, whispering prayers of gratitude. Her tears sparkled like rain on fresh leaves. She thanked the gods for sparing her son, but her heart mourned the chief's daughters. "Every gift," she said softly, "has its shadow." The healer listened, silently. In the sacred grove, the healer knelt. Palm wine was poured, drums beat slowly. The old priest placed a crown made of gold and leaves upon his head. "You were born from the forest," he said, "but today, you rise for the people." The crowd bowed in respect. The elders gathered beneath the ancient tree. They spoke of the healer's bravery, of the cure that saved the land. One elder rose and declared, "This man is chosen by destiny. He shall be king." The crowd cheered, their voices rising like thunder across the plains. The morning after his coronation, drums sounded softly in the distance. The people gathered in the square, waiting for their new king's words. He stood tall, wearing a robe of gold and green. "We rise together," he said. "No forest, no river shall divide us again." The people cheered. As the new king stood before his people, he felt the weight of both earth and spirit. The wind carried the whispers of the serpent. He raised his staff high and declared, "Let no one be cast away again. Every life has meaning." The people cheered, tears flowing freely. Suddenly, the sky darkened, then broke into golden rain. Each drop sparkled as it touched the ground. Crops began to sprout instantly, rivers shimmered, and the air smelled of hope. The villagers called it the blessing of the serpent, a gift from the spirit that watched over them. After the celebration, the king walked alone into the forest. He knelt by the sacred tree and whispered, "Thank you." The leaves rustled gently, and a faint golden light circled him. The serpent's voice echoed faintly, "Guide them well, my son." He smiled, tears in his eyes. The morning after his coronation, drums sounded softly in the distance. The people gathered in the square, waiting for their new king's words. He stood tall, wearing a robe of gold and green. "We rise together," he said. "No forest, no river shall divide us again." The people cheered. Under his rule, the village changed. The once empty wells overflowed, and the farmlands grew thick with harvest. The people built schools, temples, and healing huts. Every wall was painted with symbols of unity, a snake coiled around the crown, shining like the memory of hope reborn. One morning, as he bathed in the sacred river, the waters began to glow. A tiny golden serpent rose, curling around his wrist before vanishing. In its place, a mark appeared, the sign of eternal guardianship. The spirits had accepted his sacrifice. The river sang with gratitude. The people declared a new festival, the Day of Return. Drummers played from sunrise to sunset. Lanterns hung from trees, and dancers wore golden beads. Each year, they honored the serpent's sacrifice, the healer's courage, and the mother's love that refused to die. The village glowed like fire. One evening, an old figure arrived at the gate, the same stranger who once delivered the prophecy. His beard was gray, his voice gentle. "You have fulfilled your path," he said. "But remember, guardians do not rest. Another will come after you." The king nodded, his eyes distant. Inside the palace, the stranger spoke. "You are chosen, but your destiny is not complete. The serpent's power must be renewed, or your land will fade again." The king frowned. "What must be done?" The stranger replied, "The golden staff must return to where you were found, the forest heart." The king set out alone, walking through mist and memory. The forest welcomed him like an old friend. Each tree whispered his name, each step echoed with history. As he reached the sacred clearing, he knelt and placed the golden staff upon the earth. The ground began to tremble. A bright light surrounded him. The golden serpent appeared once more, larger, wiser, and calm. "My son," it said, "the throne is not for power, but for service. Will you give your heart again?" The king bowed deeply. "My heart belongs to the people." The serpent smiled and vanished. The light faded, and silence filled the air. Then, from the sky, a golden mark appeared on his arm, the symbol of the serpent. It glowed softly as he walked back home. The forest watched proudly. The king had passed his final test, sealing the bond of two worlds forever. The king often sat by the river, watching his reflection ripple in the golden light. "Am I still the boy of the forest?" he wondered. The serpent's voice whispered faintly through the breeze, "You are both man and spirit." He smiled, knowing he belonged to two worlds forever. When the king returned, the people ran to greet him. Children sang, "The son of the forest has come home." He smiled, raising his staff. The golden mark on his arm glowed softly. His mother wept tears of joy. Peace once lost had now truly found its way back. Generations passed, yet every year the festival continued. Drums thundered, fires danced, and stories of the healer king filled the air. Children wore serpent-shaped masks and golden robes. The old storyteller spoke with pride. "Once, a man became a bridge between spirits and men, and he never truly left." Moral lesson of the story: destiny cannot be destroyed, only delayed. Even when the child was cast away, fate found its way. No force can stop what is meant to rise, because truth and purpose always return, just like the golden serpent. The serpent's voice echoed through the river. "To heal the land again, you must give up your crown. The king's heart trembled. Without a crown, who will guide them? The serpent replied, a true king rules from within, not from a throne. Then silence fell, and the water calmed.